First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Cris Cater. That is Nick Reich. Got my fingers right. As Rob Gronkowski would say, it's freezy here in New York City today. Balmy 4 degrees, but we are going to plow through because we are indoors. Big Thursday show. It looks like Anthony Davis might not be heading to the Lakers anytime soon. LeBron James might be out longer than we thought, but we are going to start with the Super Bowl. Now just 3 days away with thousands of storylines to discuss. The one that picked up the most steam yesterday is the one that had nothing to do with the game itself, a contract extension for Tom Brady. I mean, he will be in the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row and the 9th time in 18 seasons. He is entering the final year of his deal next season, but he's 41 years old and he wants to play till he's 45. Robert Kraft was asked about extending Brady's deal. Here's what he had to say.
Well, think about it. The last 3 years, we've been privileged to go to the Super Bowl with a quarterback in place. I would be quite surprised if he didn't continue for quite a while as our quarterback.
The reality is I don't think many people thought I would be playing like this, even though I had a great belief that I would. And, I think, RKK has always supported me in my beliefs and thoughts. And, that's why we have a great relationship.
All right, Chris, start with you. Do you think the Patriots should give Tom Brady an extension?
Absolutely. I mean, we knew they were on a collision course because what Bill Belichick does typically, veteran players, he's not going to sign them to long contracts or money they're going to have guaranteed. No one manages the salary cap better than the New England Patriots. And Tom Brady has helped them do that. It's for a number of years. He's taken below market price of what he should be, given that he is the best quarterback that's ever played the game. He could easily demand being the highest paid, but the system that they run. And he said something that's really critical there. They stopped asking Bill Belichick about Tom Brady. Yeah. They start asking the guy that owns the team and writes the check, RKK, as he likes to be called by his friends. And him and Tom Brady have sat down and talked about this. So I wouldn't be surprised. He's got 1 year left on his deal. I wouldn't be surprised if they signed him to a 2 or 3 year contract extension. Brady wants to try to get to 45. And because of what he's done in the last 3 years, it made what Mr. Kraft thought and what Belichick thought, and what Mr. Kraft and what Brady thought, that's the law now in New England. Yep. Belichick was going to make plans with Garoppolo. He lost that battle. Tom playing the way he did on the field, because there's a lot of players like Tom Brady, great, and they think they're going to be able to play longer. Peyton Manning, he thought he had captured lightning in a bottle. Going to Denver, man, I'm playing with a great defense. That first season there, oh, man, he's shredding in it. They talking about, oh, his arm strength is not even back to 100%. Oh, the nerves, he's only going to get better. He thought he'd be playing till he was 44, but all of a sudden, age caught up to him. Tom Brady is doing what we haven't seen done, and he has deserved the right to get his contract extended, and all the sacrifice he's made through the years. We haven't seen a star player sacrifice more from a financial standpoint to be able to help the team formulate and put other pieces around him like we've seen with Tom Brady.
So for some context to this, Brady basically redid his contract right before the Deflategate suspension 3 years ago. Part of that was because they needed to add years to it. Part of that was because they knew a suspension was coming, so they wanted to make his base salary as low as possible, where he would still get money, but when you lose 4 game checks, his base salary that year was $1 million. That way the NFL couldn't withhold that money essentially from him like if he were making $16 million. So that's the contract that is going to run out after next year. I think most people thought when he signed that contract, contrary to what Brady was saying, that's going to be his last contract. Yes. Bill Belichick thought that, and he was grooming Garoppolo. The problem is, since then, what he has done is had one of his most efficient seasons ever in only 12 games, the Deflategate year, and then the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Followed that up with winning league MVP and getting to the Super Bowl, and followed that up with, even though statistically a down year for him, still a top 5 scoring offense he led, and they are back in the Super Bowl. So they're definitely going to give him an extension. You don't let quarterbacks go into the last year of their deal if they're any good, much less the greatest quarterback ever. But this is where, if I were Tom Brady, if I can put on my Nick Wright agent hat for a moment, I would try to exert a little bit of leverage and say, hey, I have taken below market deals every year. I will continue to do that for you. But I've said I want to play till I'm 45. I want this contract to take me till I'm 45. That's a 3-year deal, and I'd like it to be guaranteed. So if you want me to play for 15 to 18 million a year the way I have been over the last 4 years when other guys are getting 28, Rodgers and Stafford getting 30 plus, I will play for half of my market value. But I want 3 years, 45 million, call it that, tacked onto the end of it, and go ahead and make that a fully guaranteed contract. So I have it in writing that I'm on the New England Patriots until my set expiration date of 45 years old. And if you don't want to do that, no problem. We can do this year to year. You want to franchise me? You don't got a backup plan and have to pay me a huge premium off what you're paying me now? So be it. But I will continue to be a team player. I will continue to do what you guys want. I want you to do what I want, which is remove this discussion from the conversation. Remove this part of it. I want a contract that takes me up to year 40, to my 45th birthday, which is how long I've said I've wanted to play for the last 5 years now.
Is this even a conversation if the Patriots didn't make the playoffs this year or didn't make the Super Bowl this year? Would we be talking about this? Because it's certainly not based on the way he played this year. It's based on the fact that they are back in the Super Bowl again and a culmination of everything he has done.
The conversation with Tom Brady's always going to have a little slant on it. How much longer will he continue? Are we showing signs of him cracking? This regular season, not the best regular season he's had, is worse than the last 3 regular seasons, but the ability for what they did. Yes, on the road, a losing record this year. Yes, 3-5. Blown out, double-digit losses 3 times. Yes, but when you go to Kansas City and do what you did, because the season is, in its totality, it's the regular season and it's the postseason for Tom Brady. So if Patty Mahomes had beaten him last week in Kansas City, we'll be talking about Tom Brady getting an extension. Is he worthy of extension? How much longer can he play? But because he got through that game, we're all on board now to 45, when wasn't nobody on board but Tom Brady at the beginning.
I think if they had, you asked two very different things. If they had missed the playoffs, that would be such a giant blaring red horn, or red flag, I should say, that okay, things are there's no way they could have missed the playoffs unless Brady's play cratered, like Peyton Manning in his final year, when his play absolutely cratered. Then I don't think we'd be talking extension. But let's just say D4 didn't line up offsides. That game ends.
Lost to the Chiefs.
I think we're still talking extension.
Okay.
Because while we are judging Brady, and I've been judging Brady based on compared to Tom Brady, compared to other quarterbacks in the league, he's still clearly one of the 10 best. And if you have one of those guys, you don't let him go into the last year of his contract. Now, would he have the leverage or the juice to do what I'm suggesting? Say, I want 3 years, I want them guaranteed? Maybe not. But either way, if the Pats were 6-10 this year, then it would have meant Tom Brady fell off a cliff. He didn't fall off a cliff. He just wasn't the league MVP that he was before. But I'm very curious to see how this goes, because Brady has been very generous as far as not demanding money, and it's not like the Pats have used that money to acquire a ton of talent.
That's the other thing, right?
But they have.
Well, this is the thing. They have spent the money on the kind of talent they want, not the kind of talent that we would have on the show. They don't have breaking news. Oh, they signed this free agent, but how they go out, how you go out and get a guy like Hogan, how you go out and sign a guy like Stephon Gilmore, how you go out and get the other McCourty twin, all right? How you go out and keep Chung there as a safety. Like, they got good football players that they're paying good money to, so let's not think that they just went out and treated their roster like the Cleveland Browns or something.
And they didn't. It's not like they took the money that they saved on Brady and put it in the vault. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is what they have continued to do is leave themselves flexibility for when they've used the money they've saved on Brady to make sure they still have flexibility post-Brady. And if I were Brady, that would have bothered me if it wasn't the sake, oh, we're back in the Super Bowl again. Our defense is playing its best of the year at the end of the season again. My offensive line, where they didn't pay for my left tackle, has been over the last 8 weeks of the season the best offensive line in football again. So, like, it's all worked for them, even though they've done it very differently than, say, the Los Angeles Rams went about it this year.
Well, we'll talk to one of the former Patriots coaches, Eric Mangini, when he joins us a little bit later. But coming up on the other side, is there still hope for Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh? Juju Smith-Schuster thinks so. That's next on FS1, and you can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We are back right after this.